Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. Back with another spreadsheet. I see a couple of you didn't mind the first one, so lucky I had a few more in the pipeline. Gonna do the rucks today. As I said, the midfield is really hard to work out, so I'll do that one last. If I get time today, I might even do the big bag of shit that is the forward line. But yeah, start with the rucks. I don't think there's a hell of a lot to talk about with the rucks. Obviously, there's only two positions on the field, but it seems most people are either going with the old tried and trusted Gaundy or one of them and English. I haven't really seen too many other combos going around. Maybe a couple of people keen on Rowan Marshall, but yeah. Tim English, obviously a monster year last year. I can't see him going 128 again. I think he'll drop down to maybe 125, probably at his highest. I think more realistically, he'll go sub 120 average, especially because the Bulldogs may drop off this year a bit, I think. But yeah, still a good pick. He's got good durability and stuff, as you can see here. I know he often has niggles and stuff, but he seems to be able to play through them pretty well. But yeah, I think he's a lock for top three regardless. And Bulldogs don't really have another ruck, so I expect Lob will be the one that will chop out for him at times when he needs it. Rowan Marshall, he was the other good pick from last year, bit of a surprise packet. I thought that he'd do really well, but maybe not that high. He's got good durability as well. I think he's less likely to be top three, given that I think the top three will probably be Gawn, Grundy, and English, not in any particular order, but Marshall's probably the fourth man, I think. Not a bad starting pick again, but I don't see a lot of value at that price. I think that he'll probably stay around where he is. But the good thing about him and English is that they don't play in round zero. But this man does, Kieran Briggs. He was a real surprise packet last year. Kind of came from nowhere, kicked Flynn out the team, and Flynn's gone from the club now. He's just a big, strong dude. Solo ruck again, so that's appealing. He's pretty good here. I've got him in like a light green or better for each category. But yeah, 109. I think he'll probably top out there. I can't see him going too much higher again. Could be wrong, obviously. We don't have a hell of a lot to go on. He's only played really for half of a season, so yeah, interesting. Watch him in round zero because he does play. Wits, I'm not looking at Wits at all. He's over 30, and if you look at his scores, they're actually on a downward trend now, I think. But he is a solo ruck, and I don't see anyone at Gold Coast really pushing him out yet, so he's not the worst pick. But yeah, I won't be looking at him. I think, yeah, his average will go down a little bit again, and we'll see that it'll just keep going down a little bit till he retires or gets pushed out by maybe Ned Moyle or someone like that. So yeah, he's not very good value. I think that his year in 2022 was a bit of an anomaly because he had that crazy run where he played against all the teams that were missing their first rucks and, teams that didn't even have proper rucks. So yeah, I think what we saw last year was probably more where he's at. So he's not really in probably the top three combo. Shrek, he is a massive tease. Now, I think that his split with Jackson, he's going to get less ruck time. I think because of how Jackson ended the year, because they're both like fairly decent forwards, I think, for Ruckman. So I think it's going to become more like a 50-50 split than what it has been, with Jackson spending more time in there. So I wouldn't be touching Shrek either. But again, I could be very wrong. But even if that happens, I think that his average will probably only decrease by 5 or so. I think he'll still ton up most weeks. But yeah, I wouldn't be touching really either of them, given what I expect the split to be. They don't play in round zero either, so we can't check that. And I don't like to put too much faith in the trial games. Gorn here I've got is a god when solo, which is true. He's been the number one man for years. Like, whether it's Supercoach or not, he's the number one ruck in the AFL, and he has been for a long time. Average 104 last year. That was because Grundy came in, and obviously there was the the heartbreaking knee injury at the start, which, yeah, I started him last year because he's my favourite player outside the Crom, and when he went down with that 0, that's when my season just ended. So yeah, thanks for that one. But I think he's going to pick right up again, so he'll probably go like 120, 115, something like that. I know he's over 30, same as Wits, but it doesn't really apply when you're that good, and he's going to be solo rucking, so his ceiling is just enormous. Like, most years he'll pump out at least 200 score or something like that. So yeah, for that price, like sub 600, I think you got to pick him. As it stands, I'll be going with him and Grundy, which I've done in a lot of years, and sometimes it's burnt me, but this year is just, I think it's perfect. So yeah, Grundy 480 or 481. He'll probably be the steal of the season. Now they both play in round 0, which is a little annoying, but I just think there's too much upside that it doesn't really matter. Like, that one game that they'd miss, it's just going to be absorbed by probably having huge averages. Grundy here, I've got 140 potential value, which I know I said in the first video that they don't mean much, these numbers. There's not really a like scientific formula behind them, but yeah, it's a pretty big number if you look compared to the rest. So yeah, he'll solo ruck at Sydney. I think that Hayden McLean will probably be the one to give him the chop out. I'll actually talk about Hayden McLean in the forwards when we get there. He's an interesting one. Yeah, so Grundy last year without Gawn, he averaged 138. So he's still got it. He's still very bloody capable. So yeah, I think he's pretty much a must pick, and because the majority of people are going with him, you'd have to be a pretty brave man or woman to want to bet against that. It's better to just go with the pack, I think, because, you know, if he goes down or he doesn't work out, then everyone's in the same boat and, you know, all trying to jump off. Tristan Cherry, sounds like he's going to be the number 1 ruck at North Melbourne now. Hearing all kinds of things coming out of North Melbourne. There's been talk of this Finbar, I don't know how you say it, Finbar Maley or Malley. He's been training really well, so he could get a run early, but yeah, I think Cherry's going to be the man. I don't trust him. I think that I've got here, he's got a low floor. Check out his scores from the last year or two for yourself. I don't know him off the top of my head, but I did notice very low floor. I think he has games where he'll hit the 40s and stuff, even when he's number 1 ruck. North Melbourne aren't really going to be any good either, so not really a pick. Not at that price. 407, you'd want him to go, I don't know, at least 100 average from there, and I can't see it happening. Goldstein is gone though, so that really does open up a lot of opportunity there for him or someone else. They've still got the guy from Richmond, Coleman Jones, I think it is. There's talk of him as well. Will he be in the ruck split? Possibly, I don't know. I've heard a lot of North Melbourne supporters say that Coleman Jones can't really ruck, but, you know, he's big enough, so. And then there's always Charlie Comben, but I'm hearing that he's maybe playing an intercept roll down back, so he's definitely a watch in the trial games. I don't really trust any of them though, to be honest, so he's really just on here to, you know, pad it out a bit, and because I've seen some people suggest that they're going to pick him. I almost guarantee though that as the season gets closer that he'll be removed from those teams and he won't be very highly selected at all. And you might notice that I've skipped Ivan Soldo. I haven't even got him on here. I wouldn't be looking at him at all. Not at that price. I don't think that he's ever shown that he's got the ceiling or anything to make that a good pick, and we just don't know what the split with this man, Jordan Sweet, is going to be like. So they could be 50-50. Sweet may not get a game, but I don't see why he would have left the Bulldogs to go to Port if he wasn't told that he'd at least be getting some ruck time with Soldo. I'm not going to pick him, even though at that price I've seen that he can pump out 80s and stuff before, but yeah, maybe as R3, I reckon, but it's a fair bit of money to have on your bench. I'd only be picking him if we know he's going to play, so he's definitely a watch. Naismith is the other one, similar boat. I don't think he's going to play too much. I think he's only going to be getting a game if Nank is injured. I think they'd prefer to try and get the games into Samson Ryan and have him as the backup ruck. He did pretty well last year, I thought. So yeah, if either of those two go down though, then he's definitely worth a look. We know that when he does play, he can score decently, and for that price, he'll make you the 150k or whatever you want really quickly. I don't even know his potential value here. I have no idea. It's almost sky's the limit with him, because at that price, as I said, doesn't have to score too much to make what you want. So I mentioned Finbar before. Yeah, I really don't know. He's on here just as a watch purely. I don't know anything really about him other than, if you look here, he's got no chance of being top 3. His team sucks and his job security sucks. So this is purely because I heard that he was training well, and he's also got the ruck forward positioning, so he could be a decent loophole if that's what you want to run. Although with this year, with all the buys and stuff and the round 0 carnage happening, I would not advise running a loophole unless you've got some crazy plan around that. So if anyone is planning on running the loophole, tell me in the comments like why and what contingency plan you have for that, because it could really come to bite you in the arse. So that's it for the rucks. Again, let me know in the comments if there's anyone you think I'm forgetting and people that you're looking at that I haven't mentioned here, or if you disagree with me. Yeah, I'm always open to hear it. I like the discussion. I saw on the Defenders one, somebody suggested that Tom Stewart could have the breakout year like Jordan Dawson, and it's actually not a bad comparison, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. So, yeah, good example. So now, yeah, I'll do the forwards because I got time. It's pretty grim. It's almost as bad as the first home buyer market right now. Jack Macrae, the old workhorse, averaged 100 last year. I've heard that he was playing injured towards the back end of the year. The thing with him is that his floor is very high. Even when he struggled, he's still not trotting out like terrible scores, except for when he was subbed and stuff, because, yeah, carrying an injury. I think he'll be fine for the 100 average, and given what is in the forward line right now, I think he's the only one that I'd be confident on definitely scoring the 100 average. And he is over 30, and there's always the Bevo problem. I hope he gets the sack, but yeah, it'd be good for Supercoach, but I still think Macrae's pretty safe, just purely for the fact there's not much else. So Luke Jackson, I've got him on here rather than the ruck spot, because I don't think anyone would be picking him in the rucks when the forward line's pretty bare. He averaged 98. That was inflated a lot by the back end of the season when Darcy wasn't there. He was the solo ruck, and he went pretty crazy, actually. Now, if Darcy gets injured, I'm picking Jackson for sure. He's a lock. He's 118 average without him. It's just, again, it's going to be a question of what is the ruck split going to be with Darcy. As I said, I think it'll be probably closer to 50-50 now, but who knows? Honestly, Fremantle are a bit of a problem in the AFL. I think they're, just never amounted to anything, and they do some pretty stupid things, like throw Will Brodie out for O'Meara. But anyway, that's another thing. Sam Flanders, very popular. I can see why. He finished off last year 106 post-bye. A couple of really big scores in there as well, and he doesn't even need the CVAs. He pretty much just plays off a half forward flank and then just follows the ball. So that's pretty cool. But I don't know if Dimmer is going to play that same style or have him playing that same style. He might end up like maybe like a Kane Lambert type, from, if you want to compare when Dimmer was at Richmond. I think that he'll have a similar kind of setup, although the game has changed again, so maybe not. It's just too much unknown with a new coach. But yeah, he looks the goods, and again, if you're just racking up the pill off the half forward flank, can't see too much going wrong with that, and there's not too many other options. So just like the Grundy one, I wouldn't bet against him. So if everyone's going with him, you kind of have to, at least to start with. So from here, it starts getting pretty speculative. Jazza Cameron can go huge, and we know that he likes to start seasons big. He averaged 82 last year, which he started again like a house on fire, and then really, really trailed off. I wouldn't be surprised if he was injured or something. He's over 30 now as well, so the inevitable trail off is going to begin sometime soon. I just don't know about him. I don't think I'm wanting to start a key forward of that price. I don't trust him. But yeah, he ticks most of the boxes. So I'll say this though, I'd be very surprised if his average doesn't increase at least a little bit this year. So Hayden McLean, he's the one I mentioned before. He went 103 average over the last 5 games, and he was just really impressive. Like with the eye test, I thought he played really well. So with no Buddy is when that was his last 5 games without Buddy. So no Buddy this year. You would think that he'll play. So he averaged 71, but that was because his first half of the year, like first 3 quarters of the year when Buddy was there, he was averaging pretty badly actually. But I can see him going at least an 80 to 90 average if he's going to be playing full time without Buddy, because he chops out in the ruck as well. I think they've got him ahead of Amadi, so probably be McDonald and McLean. But yeah, he does play round 0, so that's a bit annoying. He's definitely like a high risk, high reward type. I'm not saying to get him. I just thought it was interesting that he did average 103 over the last 5, and nobody I've seen has really mentioned him. So yeah, he's just there. Kind of stands out in the pile of shit that is the forward options this year. Bailey Humphrey, he's another one that he could do anything. He could even drop average. Who knows? Again, who knows what Dimmer's going to do? I can't see him getting any real midfield time. Not with Rao, Anderson, Miller, and Swallow and that. Rao pretty much can't play anywhere else, so he's going to stay in there. So there's really only 2 spots up for grabs, and yeah, can't see it happening. He'll probably just play off the half forward again. Yeah, not the greatest pick. I wouldn't be betting on him at 331k. Maybe he was like 231 then, yeah, but it's between a rock and a hard place, that price. Tom Lynch, 287k. Now we know that he can go like 90 average in a season, but he is over 30 now, and he's a pretty patchy scorer, like low floor, high ceiling. There's probably going to be an inevitable game this year where he kicks a bag on some shitty team and scores a 180 or something that makes him look better. I had him in my team until I decided Billings was the better pick, which, yeah, I'll get to him. But yeah, Lynch isn't too bad of a pick. I think that he'll go at least 80 odd. If nothing else, he'll probably make you the 150k. So it depends what you want him for. I don't think he's a keeper though. And that's what you got to look at with these picks is, what do you want them for? Like, are they a keeper or are they to make money? Because, just because someone averaged 80 last year and might average like high 80s this year, they don't really fit into either category, especially in other positions like defense or something where, the top 8 will average around the 100 mark. But you get what I'm trying to say. James Jordan, he's another popular one. He was really good in his first season at Melbourne and then kind of got pushed out. Lockie Hunter came in and took his wing spot, I think. He'll definitely go higher average than 49. I think he'll take a wing spot, the opposite one to Goulden at Sydney. So, yeah, I can't remember. I think he averaged like high 60s or about 70 in his first season at Melbourne, which was pretty good. He's not a bad pick. 275. Be nice if he was a bit lower, but you can't win them all, especially in the forward line. You can't win any, apparently. James Harms. He's another somewhat interesting one. I don't think I'd pick him. He's got pretty good scoring history when he does play. It's just that he's never like a first choice. He's always been the backup guy. Kind of like Beast Mode Matheson, I think. But yeah, it's a big gamble, and I think he's unlikely to play too often. He's gone from one strong midfield to another. So I don't know why. Maybe it was just like Bulldogs were the only team that would take him, but I have no idea. I think even if he goes like high 60s, he'll make you the money, but it could be a slow burn because I don't expect he's going to be a guy that plays every week. But then you don't know what Bevo's got in store. He's an odd one, likes his mature ages and stuff. Billings. The more I look at Billings, the more I like the pick. I think he's pretty much got to be a lock now. He'll play that half forward role. I think he even at St Kilda he used to go into the midfield sometimes. Don't know if that will happen at Melbourne, but he's a bit like Flanders. He doesn't really need the CBAs as much. He plays off the half forward flank and just racks it up. He's got a bit of a shitty injury history at times, but yeah, his durability over the stretch isn't too bad. Not as bad as some others. I would definitely pick him though. He only needs to average 70 and he'll make you 150 grand. And again, I know that the 150 isn't the hard and fast rule anymore because we have more trades and stuff, but I just use it as a general thing because that's what everyone knows. Jack Hayes from St Kilda, kind of the forgotten man. He was really good as a rookie last year. I expect he'll play key forward, probably ahead of Caminiti and even Membry. I think they'll go with Hayes and King because Hayes, he almost gives off like similar to like Adam Goods vibes. Like he's very versatile and very mobile for a big man. Not as much as Goods obviously, but yeah, in that kind of mold, I think. I'd be watching him for sure at that price. He averaged 74 in his first season, which was last year, but admittedly, it wasn't too many games. I think he only played 7 games or something, and then he busted his knee. And then he come back for 1 game at the end of last year, and he got subbed out because he hurt his calf or something like that. But yeah, definitely a watch. Comben, as I mentioned before, he's been rumoured to have this new intercept roll down back. It's kind of tempting at that role, although I don't know if Comben is really even that good. If you're having trouble breaking into the North Melbourne team all these years, yeah, I don't know if you're that good to begin with. I think some people think, oh, well, if they've got the role, they're going to be really good in it. Some players just aren't as good. And there's some players that you can put in any role and, the cream rises and good players will play their role well. It doesn't mean every player is like that. Harley Reid, he's a bit of an obvious one. Number 1 draft pick. I don't have to say much about him. He'll get games at West Coast, no problem. Hopefully he plays off the halfback. I don't know. Wherever they put him, he'll make the money, I think. What you really want is job security in rookies, and he's definitely got that. Another one, Dersma, should be playing half forward, I think, at North Melbourne. Not as sold on him, actually. At that price, you'd want to be pretty safe, and I don't know how safe his role would be or his scoring ability. Obviously, he's a high draft pick, but yeah, not sold on that one. I don't know enough about him yet. I think I'll watch first. Nate Caddy at Essendon, he's a key forward. Supposedly a very big boy that was scaring the defenders or something. I've only got him on here because, there's good things coming out in the pre-season reports. Again, I wouldn't really be banking on him or anything. Don't know much about him other than that. Key forwards aren't always good picks anyway. Burgess at the Crom, he's a bit of an interesting one. He's priced basically as a rookie, 129k. He averaged 33 last year. He'll be a utility for the Crom. He might play in defence, I think, is probably his most likely spot where he'd get a role. But he's got so much competition back there, and now I don't think the Crom were really expecting to have the opportunity to draft Curtin when they got Burgess, so that's not good for him. But if he is selected round 1 at that price, he's definitely got to be considered. Aaron Cadman, low average. I think with Riccardi and Hogan and Green, he's not going to get too many balls directed to him. But at that price, again, he has to be a watch. I think he was number 1 pick or something, or number 2, something like that a couple of years ago. So for that alone, he's obviously got some kind of potential. Yeah, he's just a watch. And again, they're on here because there's not many options. James Cheetahs from Gold Coast. Dimmer does love a good mature ager, and obviously I think they intend to give him some kind of opportunity because they gave him another 1 year contract at 27, and I think he was on the rookie list, so that's a good sign. They probably wouldn't just keep him around for no reason if they didn't intend to use him at that age. We actually interviewed him for our podcast, 7 Nuffs and a Serious, so check that out. He's a pretty cool guy. He definitely could benefit from Dimmer though, as I've got written here. Who knows? New coach, new game plan. Dimmer loves scrappers. They don't have to be the most skillful players. Like, look at the Richmond Dynasty team. A lot of scrappers there. So yeah, that could be good for some players. And the last one is the man that played against him in the VFL Grand Final. Actually, sorry, Cheetahs didn't play, but Gold Coast did. So Sean Manor, he kicked like 6 goals and had 1 million touches or something in the Grand Final, and they still lost. But yeah, he's been picked up by Geelong. He's just a beast, really, and mature ager. We know Geelong love them. He'll play a half forward role probably, and I think he's got to be picked just on, seeing his VFL form and that alone. Yeah, definitely a safe pick, I think. But, if he's not named round 1, then he's probably even a safe pick then, almost. Like, he'll get a game eventually is what I'm trying to say. So I've seen some people, they'll pick rookies based on only if they're playing in round 1, but even if they're not such a great pick, because we saw it last year with like Charlie Constable, which I'm still not over. He played the first 2 games and then was a bubble boy for the rest of the season. So not a good pick, whereas other guys that didn't play round 1, I can't give you any off the top of my head, but yeah, they really prospered later. So which one was the better pick? That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's the end of that one. Really interested to see what people think of the forward line potential picks. I think it's just an absolute basket of crap. So yeah, gonna have to get creative, and this is where the planning with the buys and the planning with the structure is really, really going to be important this year, more than any other year, because this is just, apart from COVID years, this is kind of like a real unique year, very unprecedented. So I hope you got something out of the spreadsheet, and again, tell me if you guys use something similar or something completely different, because it's interesting how people use things to aid themselves. Yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you got something out of it. I'll see you in the next one.